Alright, now to get the rest of the ball rolling. Now, I completely forgot where we left off. Oh yeah, you were going to talk about where we left off last time. About, you know, Wanted and stuff like that. That's pretty bad when we do these videos, Monster, and then we forget, you know, what we were talking about.
Yeah, of course. Just, as you put it, we're getting the ball rolling again, and now... Oh yeah. You know that movie Red?
Yeah, the Bruce Willis movie that recently came out.
Yeah, you know that's actually based on a comic book?
Yes, I found that out.
Yeah, I think it was written by Warren Ellis, if I'm not mistaken. I never even heard of it, so I mean, like...
I didn't either.
So I mean, I'm not even sure if... I'm not even sure if it's, you know, if it has any kind of cult following, because...
Well, I mean...
Wanted... those are books that have strong readers and followers, but...
I think what's great, though... I mean, look at Hellboy. Hellboy not only propelled Ron Perlman and Guillermo del Toro and Selma Blair and all them into, you know, popular fame, but at the same time, you know, because Hellboy, when Mike Mignola created him, he was a very obscure, not very popular character, but when, you know, they finally, you know,
he was underrated.
Yeah, he was very underrated. You know, he wasn't really the most well-known character, and then, you know, when they came out with a Hellboy movie, you know, a lot of people were like, you know, what the fuck is Hellboy? And then they found out that was a comic, and now people, you know, when they see Hellboy comics, you know, people buy that in the Bureau for Paranormal Investigation and stuff, you know, all those comic book lines that Mike Mignola does.
But honestly, I think my reason why we want to see characters like the X-Men and Spider-Man and Batman, I think the reason why we want to see these characters brought to a live-action format, it's so, and we also want for the filmmakers who direct these movies to do a good job of capturing the spirit of the source material.
And you want actors that are good, that, you know, will get into the roles as well.
Right, but us comic book readers who experience these characters so much and so many great books and comics, the joy that I feel reading these characters and all the books that we read, we want that joy to transfer over to the other audience members watching these movies.
Yeah, the people that don't read the comics and know these characters like we do.
We want to feel that same amount of joy and excitement to transfer onto the other audience members and the people who do not know the source material.
Or don't read the comics.
Yeah, and that's why I think some movies like The Dark Knight or, you know, X-Men 2 are so great, is because a couple of the few movies that I think actually accomplish that, of transferring the very fun and joy and the coolness of the source material, you know, into the mindset of the, you know, of the regular moviegoers.
I mean, honestly though, I think
the comic book fans.
Honestly though, Monster, I think, and even though it's a really, really old and by today's standards, really obscure movie, look at the very first Chris Reeves Superman film. When that came out, that was basically like the movie that started, you know, the whole, oh, we gotta take these characters into live action. And
sorry, I wouldn't say that it's obscure.
Well, a lot of people say that with the special effects and everything that's obscure, but okay, yeah, by a special effects standard, but look at the story, look at the characterization.
But it looked amazing back when it came out.
And you know, it's one of those films that transcends time. You know, with each generation and each year that goes by, it's still a good movie, and it's still the pinnacle of what a lot of, you know, not only artists and writers, but, you know, moviegoers in general, they look at that movie and they say, and even they have to admit, you know, people that don't read Superman, even they have to admit that, you know, this is what superhero movies should be.
Right. I mean, the original Superman movie is like 33 years old, but it's still a great movie. It's still an incredibly well-directed, well-acted, fun, entertaining movie.
And everybody, I mean, that was the film that I grew up watching. That and Superman 2 and Superman 3 and Quest for Peace and all that.
Well, I mean, my introduction to Superman was the '90s animated series, as well. It was the same thing for Batman. I first heard about Batman by watching the '90s animated series, but even those shows themselves even captured the magic of those characters from the comics.
And see, when you have a cartoon or when you have a live-action movie or an animated movie, you want to capture the spirit of these characters. And there are some people, and I think, when you look at, there are some people that literally define the characters. And I'll give you an example. When Christopher Reeves, who was practically a nobody, did the first Superman film, he was launched into instant superstardom. And verbatim, along with like George Reeves, he was literally, the Man of Steel. He was iconic in that sense. And when Christopher Reeves had his accident, it was a damn shame though, Monster, because, they could have done many other spin-off Superman films, and Chris Reeves would have still done a great job. And as bad as Superman 4 was, Chris Reeves pretty much carried that movie all the way, because Christopher Reeves didn't just play Superman. In real life, he was Superman. I'm surprised that they didn't bury him with the S emblem etched onto his coffin.
Yeah, that pisses me off. Still to this day, they should have done to him what they did with Bela Lugosi. When Bela Lugosi died, they buried him in the Dracula cave. They should have done the same thing to Christopher Reeve with the Superman cave.
They should have buried him in the Superman outfit, or they should have at least, had actually, done like what I had said in the Doomsday thing. They could have had one half of the American flag, sewed into like, part of the Superman cape and lay it on his coffin.
Yeah.
I mean, because, this was a guy who had an accident, he was crippled, and yet still he was, he was into charity, he still did movies, he still acted. He didn't bitch or try to get pity. Chris Reeves literally just, even after he had his accident, he still went on, and he proved the same point that, say, even FDR did during World War II. That, yeah, I'm crippled, yeah, I got all this stuff, but you know what? I'm not looking for pity. I'm still the same guy, and I'm still going to be a good person because of that. And
yeah,
I will admit, though,
and I think he's become just as much of a superhero as the character that he's famous for portraying.
Chris Reeves literally was the real-life version of Superman, and a lot of people can disagree with that however they want to, but you know what? Facts are facts. And when he showed up in Smallville shortly before he passed away, that was great.
That was a great episode.
That
really was a great episode.
That literally was. And look at Michael Keaton. A lot of people say,
that was a great way to send him off. I think that was a very affectionate way to have him pass the torch on to Tom Welling.
And hold that thought, Monster.